Other sister got a coconut, she had herself a dime. Little sister, little issues, call again, she'll be fine. She put the dime in the coconut and smoked it all up. She put the dime in the coconut and lit the line to lighten up. I've noticed that I tend to figure stuff out backwards. For example, I was stopping to get gas the other day, and my son was like, "Is this going to take a long time?" And I was like, "Nope, just a quick pit stop." And then in my head, I thought, oh, isn't it funny that we call stopping to get gas a pit stop? And in racing, when a car stops, they stop in the pits. Ah, okay. Okay, I get it now. Oh, it's the same thing. Did you know that? Did you know that we say pit stop because when you stop in the pits when you're racing, you try to make it really quick? I don't think everyone knows that. Another example of this was when I was trying to lose weight for a wedding. So I was paying extreme attention to what I was eating to make sure that I was getting like the right protein and yada yada. Sour Patch Kids didn't come up anywhere on my nutrition wheel that I had to fill. And I thought, oh, this isn't getting me anywhere towards my goal for the day. This does nothing. It's like junk. It's junk food. That's why they call it junk food. I always get there. It takes me a minute, but in the end, I do always figure it out. All right, let's stop farting around and get to the main event. I have 11 people who listen to this podcast who are dying to find out, no pun intended, about my friend who died in the avalanche. This was an old friend. We went to high school together, we went to middle school together. He was actually my first boyfriend in seventh grade. He bought me a silver and opal bracelet on my birthday, which was kind of mind blowing because one, it was a fantastic bracelet. I'm not sure how he picked it out. And two, opal is my birthstone. So he had put some thought into it. It's odd that I ended up having kids with such a loser. My first boyfriend showed me exactly how you're supposed to be treated. How did I fuck that up? Well, I know how because I am a fuck up. That's the way I operate. And the doctors say there's no cure. So I loved Ian very much, and he died in an avalanche, and I'm making light of it because I found that crying about it doesn't get you anywhere. So let's make some jokes. First of all, I looked up his obit this morning to kind of brush up on my facts. And guess what I found out? His middle name was Francis. His middle name, he is so lucky that I did not know his middle name was Francis when we were younger because he never would have heard the end of it. Francis? Francis? Not very cool. But you know what is cool? Dying in an avalanche. Listen, I'm sad he's gone. I'm sure his parents are pretty upset. But if you've got to go, is there a better way than avalanche? No, no, there isn't. That is so hardcore and badass. Think about how most people die: heart disease, kidney failure. Those things aren't cool. Avalanches are cool. And he died doing what he loved, which was skiing. Isn't everyone always saying that's the best way to die doing what you love? He did that. So he died while backcountry skiing, which, according to Google, is skiing in unmarked, unpatrolled terrain outside ski resort boundaries. So he was taking some chances. Well, not really. The news article says Fair and his companions were all experienced backcountry travelers. They had taken avalanche safety courses and were equipped with beacons and transceivers, dug a test pit to assess snow conditions, and had one skier traverse the ridgeline to see if it would trigger an avalanche. Bam! This is not what I'm doing in my spare time. This is some serious shit. The article goes on to say that after taking precautions, Fair, which is Ian, skied down the mountain and triggered an avalanche. Friends located him with their beacon, but he had already died from trauma that occurred from being swept through the trees during the avalanche. All right, now hold on to your hats because the end of this story is absolutely fucking insane.
He was skiing with his fiance when he died, and apparently they'd been trying to start a family. When they recovered the body, it was taken to a doctor who extracted semen from his body, and then she used that to get pregnant, and now he has a 7-year-old son. I shit you not. Listen, I love this idea. I love that there's a little Ian out there. I follow the fiance on Instagram. I've seen the little kid grow up. I sent presents when he was born. Oh my God, I just had the best idea. What if I had him as a guest on the podcast? Wouldn't that be insane? Someone please remind me to do that. That is such a great idea. Now, I don't want to come off as a naysayer, but when I first heard this story, my immediate thought was, oh my God, that's the most unethical thing I've ever heard in my entire life. There's no way that's legal. And she even said that she had to go to several doctors before she found one that would do it. And it's like, yeah, no shit. What if she made the whole story up? What if Ian didn't want to have kids at all? And then she just took his semen and he's up in heaven, like, what the fuck? Oh my God. What if she triggered the avalanche? Oh, it's all coming together. Yep. She wanted to have kids. He didn't. They go out skiing one day. She causes an avalanche using dynamite. I don't know. Kills him, steals the semen, has his baby. She wins. It's a possibility. This is a hard story to tell because you really need the visual, but I'm going to try anyways. Ian and I did choir together. We were in the auditorium one day rehearsing for a concert. And for this particular concert, we had to sing and do a mini dance routine to the song 42nd Street. And the dance routine started with your back to the audience. So Ian's right in front of me, and I'm staring at his back. And then the teacher starts the music, but she accidentally puts on River of Dreams by Billy Joel instead of 42nd Street. And Ian turns around with his hand on his head and he's swinging his hips and he goes, in the middle of the night. I know that doesn't sound that funny, but if you were there, it was so unexpected and so perfect. I was laughing so hard that I had to leave the stage and I had to leave the auditorium and I had to run to the bathroom because I was laughing so hard that I was afraid I was going to pee in my pants. And now, whenever I hear that song on the radio, I always think of it as Ian saying hi to me. Damn, I wish there was a way to tell that story so you could understand how funny it was, but you really just had to be there. Here's another great Ian story. We ran into each other as adults at a bar, and he starts giving me this really lovely, kind of romantic speech saying, he said something like, no matter what happens in my life, you'll always be the first girl that I loved. And I was like, oh, wow, this is great. And then he said, I'll never forget your blue eyes, your perfect smile, the way you always thought you were better than everyone else. What? You thought I was better than everyone else? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? I thought he was going to say my hair was pretty. And then he's like, no, you were a snob. Oh, I was better than everyone else. That's a bold statement. That left a mark because he was being really sincere. He was speaking from the heart. So I guess I used to be a bitch.
The Kitty Kelly Show.
I think everyone else is already doing this, but I started reading the comments section and I love it. I just love it. Now, initially, I stopped because I had two really bad incidents. One, and this was quite some time ago, whenever Serena Williams yelled at that ball girl, I went to the comment section on that video. Yikes. First and only comment that I read said something akin to, this is what you can expect from a big black ape, or something like that. And I was like, oh, Hell no. People shouldn't be racist because it's bad to be racist, but people also shouldn't be racist because it's embarrassing. Black ape? Bro, this is one of the finest athletes on the planet. She's outshining all of us by a lot. She shouldn't have yelled at that girl, though. That was kind of messed up. So that really pissed me off. And I was off the comment section for like a long time, only to go back and be devastated again. Holy shit. I just realized this story is about a gorilla too. Wait, no. This next story is about a gorilla, and the guy called her an ape. I believe those are the same thing, right? What a bizarre coincidence. So I watch a ton, maybe an embarrassing amount of videos about animal moms and their babies. I also love a good Rocky Balboa inspirational video. That never gets old for me. That gets me every time. Fucking love Mickey. There's a video on TikTok of Mickey giving his speech to Rocky that's set to a choral version of Madonna's Like a Prayer, and it is phenomenal. I digress. I'm on Facebook and I'm watching this video of a baby gorilla that had been separated from its mom, and the mom thought the baby was dead because after she gave birth to it, it was sick and they had to take it away and take care of it. So for like 3 days, the mom was like really sad. And this video was of them reuniting. And the mom was so happy and she runs over to the baby and they're like hugging and she's holding it and like giving it lots of kisses. And then I go to the comments section and some fugly bitch writes, just so you know, the baby ended up dying 2 weeks later. Oh, I had a reply for her. Good morning, asshole. I don't follow baby snuggle lovers because I want to be in touch with reality. Get fucked, Walter Cronkite. You need to go over to CNN if you want to report the news. Then yesterday, the comment section went and totally redeemed itself when Marv from Home Alone got arrested. The headline reads, Home Alone star Daniel Stern cited for soliciting prostitute in California. The comment section was pure love. It restored my faith in humanity. Listen to these comments. We love this guy. Move on. Nah, it's cool. Let him go. Someone needs to tell me what the problem is. And then some absolute beast wrote this one. That's the silver tuna.
The Katie Kelly Show.
Well, I've got some bad news. Trouble's a brewing. Lennox has a new bus driver, and we do not have a good history with bus drivers. The last one was perfect. We had her for a year. I wanted her to stay so badly. I made many phone calls to try to get her to stay. And by many phone calls, I sent 2 to 3 texts to the bus company. I appreciated this woman so much. For Christmas, I gave her $50, which in real people money is like 3 grand. I gave her a portion of my net worth. And do you know what she did? Gave some of it back. Lennox came home with a $20 bill. And I was like, who did you rob? And he's like, oh, the bus driver gave it to me. So she wouldn't even like take all the money. I thought that was so nice. I'd previously assumed that being a bus driver was pretty straightforward drive, but no, we've had issues. Lennox takes the short bus to school. There's no way to dance around that and tell this story properly. Part of that means that the bus comes right to our home, which is phenomenal. He just walks out the door and gets on the bus. There's no going to a bus stop. It's perfect. And because of this proximity, I have interactions with the bus driver. I see them, I say hello, we talk, we chat. And I don't know what's going on with this bus company, but he gets a new bus driver every couple months, which feels like a lot. I remember in elementary school, I had the same bus driver for years. And I remember this because I remember him vividly. His name was Silly Willy, and he was awesome. He used to let us stand up on the bus and try to not fall down as he like turned corners. It was fantastic. While he was driving, he'd go, "I'm silly Willy. I'm silly Willy." I wonder what silly Willy is up to these days. Probably something great. Fantastic attitude. Not one for the old rule book, but that worked in my favor. We also used to body surf down the bus, like under the seats, which thinking about it now must have been so gross. And Silly Willy never stopped us. He encouraged it. He loved it. He really was silly. All right. One day I'm outside the house waiting for Lennox. Van pulls up and Lennox comes out hot, piping hot. Door flies open. He's all red in the face. I go to hug him. He flies by me and storms into the house. So I said to the bus driver, "What happened?" And she looks at me and says, "Your son is all." And then she did this full body jerk like Kramer. She was like, "Your son's all." And I said, "Excuse me?" And she said, "Your son needs to be medicated." I was like, "He is medicated. Have you taken note of the length of this bus? Who do you think you're chauffeuring around? This isn't your average bus route. Did they not tell you that?" Well, they will when they talk to you this afternoon when you get fired, because I'm going inside to make a phone call or I'm going to annihilate you. And I'm never one to be like, "This person should be fired." There was a lady at daycare that let Lennox have a marble and then he proceeded to choke on it. And when the head of the daycare called me to tell me about it, she said, "We're going to let her go." And I was like, "Oh, no, don't fire anyone over this. Kids put stuff in their mouth all the time." And they were like, "No, we have to fire her. It's a big deal." And I was like, "Oh, please don't. I don't want to be the reason someone loses their job." You can't fire people willy nilly, silly Willy. It's not cool. People need their jobs. But I was willing to make an exception in this case. I'm sure they didn't fire her. They probably just put her on a new bus route. It's funny. They actually told me that this was her first time driving kids and she normally drives elderly people. And I was like, maybe stop putting this woman with people that can't advocate for themselves. Okay. I have a feeling she's left a lot of traumatized elderly people in her wake. The next incident I didn't witness. Bus company calls me and says, "Hello. We were just calling because the bus driver has filed a complaint against your son. Apparently, he told her that he was going to burn her house down. So she is upset and she has filed a complaint." I was like, "Oh, arson jokes." Or not a joke, threat, arson threats. This is a new one. Now, right away, I knew that he didn't do it. Lennox is a ton of things, but he's not the kid that says he's going to burn your house down. Disclaimer, he wouldn't say that unprompted. So I told the lady to kind of hold off on any further action until I could talk to him. So Lennox gets home and I said, "Did you tell the bus driver that you were going to burn her house down?" And he said, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay. Why?" And he said, "Because she said she was going to throw my backpack out the window. So I told her I was going to burn her house down." And I said, "Why was she going to throw your backpack out the window?" And he said, "Because I wouldn't stop kicking the seats." And it's this kind of behavior that earned Lennox the nickname Little Chief Double Down, because this kid loves upping the ante. Should a bus driver have told him she was going to throw his backpack out the window? No. Again, lunacy. Who's driving these buses? But he didn't have to come back with burning her house down. That is so aggressive. So, yeah, she got taken off our bus route as well. The last one's kind of my fault. Whatever. I'm not perfect. Oh, excuse me. Half my fault. I won't do any more than taking partial blame for this catastrophe. I told you that the bus comes right to our house. Part of this deal is that I have to be there for them to let him off the bus. And I have an almost perfect track record because on this particular day, your girl really needed a massive nap. It was the 5th of July, and I'd gone a little too hard the night before, namely that when I got home, I decided to listen to a little music before bed, and I ended up listening to Exile by Taylor Swift from 12 in the morning to 4 in the morning on repeat, no breaks. Okay, let's really start divvying up the blame. Bus driver, me, Taylor Swift, and Bon Iver. And I think the order is bus driver, Bon Iver, Katie, Taylor Swift. Taylor is a little after my time, so I'm not super familiar with her work. Party I was at played one of her songs. Well, the song Exile, right? And I'd never heard it before. And it was Love at First Sight. I also didn't even know who Bon Iver was. And this man has the greatest voice I have ever heard in my life. That's why I couldn't stop listening to the song. I was his voice is mesmerizing. It's perfect. It's the perfect male voice. It's it's absolutely perfect. Like 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. perfect. So I'm in a pretty deep slumber when the bus shows up and I have no idea that it's there. Instead of beeping the horn, the woman drove Lennox to the police station and dropped him off there. So I'm woken up by the most terrifying sound ever, which is that bang, 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 that unmistakable police knock. Why do they knock like that? Like, relax, okay? You're startling people. Take it down a notch. But now I'm up and I find a police officer at my door saying that my son is down at the station and asking me why I wasn't outside the house to get him off the bus. And I was like, why don't you mind your own goddamn business? Just kidding. That would have been funny though. But she did give me the third degree, which I didn't appreciate at all. She asked why I wasn't there. I said I was asleep. End of story. And then she asked a bunch of follow up questions, like I'm some crackhead. I don't remember them because my head was pounding, but I recall feeling judged and being annoyed. And then she was like, well, you can come down to the station and get him. And I was like, oh shit, I really don't want to drive anywhere right now. I was hoping she was going to say that she was going to get him and bring him back. No dice. I pick up Lennox. He's happy. They gave him stickers. Didn't seem traumatized, but I'm still pissed. So the next day, I say to the bus driver, why didn't you honk the horn? And she goes, we have a no honk policy. I was like, what? She's like, we can't honk the horn. That's one of the rules, no honking. I was like, every other bus driver that we've had has honked the horn. You can honk the horn. And she was like, I was told I can't honk the horn. And I was like, so you thought that the best thing to do was take him to the police station and leave him with some strangers rather than bend the rules and give a little tap on the horn? Like I said, that day he was in a great mood, unfazed. However, since then, it's the number one thing he brings up out of the blue. He's ruined many a nice, quiet moment by just throwing out, remember the time you were napping and I had to go to the police station and you had to pick me up? And it's like, yeah, I remember. I remember. I don't need to be reminded. I remember. I would love it if we could let this one go. Let's keep the past in the past and keep on rolling. Not my proudest moment. I think the best path forward is you never mentioning it ever again. So, a couple hiccups, and we've been kind of trouble free since because of the one lady that was consistent and good, but now she's gone and there's a new guy. So, I have no idea what's going to happen next. No shocker here. I'm totally into the metaphysical, psychics, tarot cards, what have you. I can't get enough of that stuff. But I'll tell you why. Because it's real and it happens to me all the time. And if you're a non believer, get ready to have your mind changed. This all started in college when a girl named Sarah Van Buren wrote a paper in our writing class about a tarot card reader that she had been to that was so accurate that it really scared her. It was like a cautionary essay. Not for me. My interest was piqued. I went up to her after class and said, "Where did that happen? I want to go to there." So she takes me to this place. We walk inside. The card reader is a man, which I didn't expect, and it threw me off a little. Every psychic in every movie is a woman, right? It's always a girl. So I looked at this guy and I was like, oh, this guy's full of shit. This is a hoax. And I think he might have sensed that because he was quite hostile to me upon our meeting. Well, I did make a possibly inappropriate joke. So he said, "Hi, I'm Seamus." And I said, "Oh, that's the name of my family's dead cat. I wonder if there's a connection." And he didn't think that was funny at all. But I actually wasn't kidding. I was like, "Seamus? Like, who else is named Seamus? I know two Seamuses, my old cat and this tarot card reader." Regardless, it pissed him off. Might have just been an asshole, though. He was in a bad mood the entire reading. So, blah, blah, blah. We're going through the motions. He's saying stuff. I'm being really cynical, kind of just like nodding my head and going along with what he's saying. Come to think of it, we actually kind of got in a fight. So he pulls out a card and says something extremely specific. He said, "You have a party coming up. It's going to be extremely important." I forget the exact phrase, but like a milestone or something that I'd always remember. And then he said, "It's already planned. You know about it. It's happening this spring." And I was like, "No, it's not. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no party." And then he got really defensive and he said, "No, this is happening. You know about it." And I said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And he pulls out the card and there's a woman sitting in the chair and then like a woman next to her. And he said, "This is you. You're the girl standing next to the girl in the chair." And I was like, "Well, what does that mean?" And he said, "You're not the center of attention at the party, but you're adjacent to the center of attention." And I said, "Well, there you go. Why would I go to a party where I wasn't the center of attention? This sounds like a pretty shit party." And I wasn't trying to be combative, but he was wrong. And I wasn't going to act like he wasn't wrong. So I said, "This party isn't happening. I'm sorry. You don't have the gift." He was getting really frustrated and kept going into more detail. The next thing he said was, "The party is going to be all women." And I was like, "Dude, an all woman party where I'm not the center of attention? This party sucks. I can guarantee you I'm not going to this party. I've never gone to an all female party. That's ridiculous." So we're really butting heads. And I'm getting ready to ask for my money back when I realize that my sister's wedding shower, or bridal shower, rather, is coming up in the spring. And I'm her maid of honor. The bridal shower is an all female party. And I'm the maid of honor. So I'm not the center of attention, but I'm next to the center of attention. This dude was dead right. Dead right. Dead right. I'd completely forgotten about the party. He was absolutely right. Unbelievable. Seamus was the real deal. I stand corrected. He has the gift. A great mystery was solved recently, and unfortunately, the solution is disappointing. The story goes like this. Maybe 6 months ago, I'm with my daughter. She's playing with a toy and talking to herself. One of her biggest issues is speech and communication. All she's doing is speaking gibberish. So she's playing with the toy and she's like, And then that stops, and she says, clear as day, this is ground control to Major Tom. Just that line, and then goes back to "Tarabipa, irapa, sirapa." And I was like, Santa Maria, what on earth just happened here? And it was very clearly something supernatural. Someone doesn't go from nonverbal to singing a line from a song perfectly and then instantly go back to nonverbal. That's the supernatural at play. I know what you're thinking. David Bowie was using Hazel as a channel to sing again on the earth plane. And I love where your head's at. But no, that's not it. Because why? Why her? For what purpose? Cui bono? It has to be something deeper and more complex. And if you think the obvious answer is that she picked it up at home, no. I love that song. It's fire, but I know 100% that I've never played it. Certainly not on repeat so that she had memorized the lyrics. No way. Option C, collapsed timeline. There's another timeline where she is great at communicating and a huge David Bowie fan. Somehow that timeline collapsed, intersected, crossed over our current timeline briefly so that she went from nonverbal to verbal and then right back to nonverbal. It's always Hazel, but two different versions of her. And for a brief moment in time during this, I would say an intersection of timelines would be the best way to describe it. And so that's what I've been going with. And I've thought that for the past 6 months. And I'm not joking around because there's no other explanation. There really isn't any other explanation. Well, a few days ago, we're watching cartoons, and there was a cartoon that played that song. And I'm a little bummed out because it's more fun to believe in magic. And I still do believe in magic. Unfortunately, this time, not magic. All right. That's a wrap. Thank you for listening. I'll see you again next week.